Now the radio's been removed. I'm going to go ahead and remove the screws that hold the navigation screen to the main radio bracket. There's these 4 screws on the back, which remove rather easily with standard Phillips screwdriver. With the 4 screws removed, push up and away at the back of the navigation screen and pull the unit away from the main bracket. This will expose the clip holding the harness in place. Let's go ahead and pinch it together and push it through the metal using a pair of pliers or screwdriver or your fingers. Next, remove 3 screws on either side of the electronics box before moving on. You will also remove this screw which holds the grounding wire in place at this time. Remove the screw holding the white plastic guides from each side of the navigation screen. The unit is now held in place merely by the black plastic tabs along the sides of the metal bracket. Just gently pull away at the sides of the bracket while getting the tabs out of their little slots. Keeping the 2 halves of the navigation unit together, they can now be separated from the bracket. You can now access the screws which hold the pivot in place. Remove them. Your navigation unit will still be connected by the ribbon cables. Being careful not to put a lot of tension on the ribbon cables, position the pieces so that the trim can be further disassembled. Now remove the 6 screws which hold the black trim onto the back of the navigation screen. These 2 screws have already been removed. Lift from the top to remove this piece of trim, which will expose the ribbon cable connectors, as well as exposing the screws which hold the open-close button in place. Remove these screws now. Push the open-close button in and push it towards the opening in the trim to remove it. If you haven't noticed already, I have already removed my navigation screen and electronics box prior to this demonstration. Since I've already removed the electronic components, I will now be showing you how to disconnect the ribbon cable from the navigation screen. Now, this is just the method. I will be removing it from the electronics box instead of the navigation screen, since that's the one it's connected to now and it has all the attaching hardware. Use a fine screwdriver to pop the black plastic rivet center out. Once you've lifted it a little bit, pull it up the rest of the way with your fingernails or a pair of tweezers. Do the same to the other side. Once the center of the plastic rivet has been removed, use the screwdriver and fingernails again to remove the rest of the rivet. Do the same to the other side. Again, keep in mind I'm doing this to the electronics box. You want to be doing this to the navigation screen side. When you're doing this for the first time, you should not have to disconnect anything from the electronics box at this time. You want to leave the ribbon cable attached to it. Now that the plastic rivets are removed, the only thing holding the ribbon cable in is the ribbon clip on the electronics board. Again, mine has been removed, so this is a little bit more accessible, but the procedure is the same. The brown clips on the side of the white harness are what hold it in place. These need to just be lifted straight away from the electronics board to loosen the ribbon cable, allowing you to pull it straight off. There is also a grounding strap ribbon cable, which is held on by a single screw. Remove that and it will be loose. With both of the ribbon cables disconnected, you can now separate the navigation screen from the electronics section and start removing the 4 screws around the edge of the navigation screen. With the screws removed, the plastic frame can now be removed. With the frame removed, you can now access the 4 screws around the outside of the screen box. Now all that remains are 2 screws along the top and bottom, holding the screen inside. If your plans include mounting a phone or a GPS inside this box, I recommend cutting almost the entire back off, as well as a large portion of the top to allow GPS signals to reach the device.